faster, I'm sure.
So here it is. It is the final rock of the first end. Pretty sticky situation. A wide draw to the edge of the forefoot to give up one. Looks like it's cruising.
Yeah, Ashton's backing off this one a little bit.
Might catch something new out there. I doubt practice rocks have really made it out there. That is digging a little bit. Will it stop in time? It'll be a steal of 2 at least. Settles in at the back of the 8-foot. It will be a steal of 2. Could have been worse, but still very strong start for Team Fujisawa. Oh! And here we go. Your commentator has betrayed you. I counted rocks wrong. There must have been one in the corner. It looks like Fujisawa has hammer.
I had total faith in you, Rory.
First game, first end. I mean, I want to give myself a carte blanche here, but whatever. It was fun. Building that drama was so much fun anyway. I mean, still, looks like we got a shot for 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Team Fujisawa. It looks like Skrlik has sort of shown her the way a little bit.
Yeah. You know, you'd want to just draw there. You know, you err on the side of maybe being heavy. Try and tap that back for 4. If you don't got to tap it far, maybe 3 or 4 inches.
Yeah, kind of leave it to the sweepers, eh?
Most likely, especially this early in the game, you have an open draw for 3. You want to make sure you get that. The 4 is a bonus, and it looks like they have the 3 for sure, and they're going hard for the 4 now.
Line looks good. Can they drag it back to tap? This one's digging as well. Like you said, that's the okay way to miss. It's going to be 3 points on the board for Team Fujisawa. Strong opening here at the Western Showdown in Swift Current, brought to you by Nutrien Egg Solutions. Welcome on back to Swift Current. It is the second end. Team Fujisawa did score 3. And the audience missed most of the end, as I understand. Pretty busy getting things up and running here in Swift Current. As many of you know, Curling Stadium Live. Free curling directly to you on YouTube. So there are some kind of hiccups as tournaments get started. That was one of them. Apologies, but I don't mean to rub it in, but you missed a pretty good end. We had quite a bit of rocks in play, multiple center guards, some makes, some misses, some oohs and ahs, but I'm sure we're going to do it all again here in the second end. My name is Rory McCusker. I'm your operator, camera guy, and commentator, I guess you've caught on to as you're hearing my voice. I am joined today Josh Usick. Hello, Josh.
Hello, curlingzone.com, and hello, Rory. So glad to be here.
Well, that first end was pretty exciting. Team Japan, or Team Fujisawa of Japan, gained some early advantage, but I don't know if they missed a shot after that, as they really sealed away the house. Had multiple rocks down the center line, and in a desperation draw on her last, Kayla Skrlik came up a little bit heavy, allowed Satsuki Fujisawa to draw for 3. It may have even been a score of 4, Josh.
Yeah, Skrlik got a little bit in too deep pretty early in that end, and a couple misses trying to clear things up. Desperation draw on her last. It just came up a bit heavy. Left a shot for 4, just barely too light on Fujisawa's last to bump it back for 4. But either way, Skrlik's getting to work here, looking to get herself back in the running for this game.
Yeah, I love these kinds of ends. 4 made shots to start things off. So we got our center guard, corner guard. And I'm not sure if they came up light on their draw on the next center guard, or if they were trying to throw double centers. I'm guessing they came up light.
That's what you'd think, yeah.
But either way, both teams kind of putting their rocks in the spots that they'd like to. So now you got 3 rocks down the center line. Now the depth, not ideal for Team Fujisawa. But 2 really good stones. That biter ended up in a really good spot for Team Skrlik. So that's in the rings and undercover. So free guard zone is now expired. Team Skrlik can hit if they want to. Looks like they're going to. But the key with any end where you're trying to score multiple points with hammer is to keep your shooter in the ring. So removing the red stone, not so much the priority here. Keeping your yellow stone around. That's the key.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm in the clear here, I think we're gonna meet the teams quickly.
Absolutely.
We got the Fujisawa ring curling out of the Tokoro Curling Club in Hokkaido, Japan. Their lead is Yorika Yoshida. Their second is Yumi Suzuki. Third, Shinami Yoshida. And their skip is, of course, the famous Satsuki Fujisawa. They are ranked 10th in the world currently and number 1 in Japan. On the other side, throwing the yellow rocks wearing the red uniforms, it's Kayla Skrlik curling out of the Garrison Curling Club in Calgary, Alberta. Their lead is Ashton Skrlik. Their second is Jerry Lynn Ramsey. Their normal third, who is not in attendance currently, is Brittany Tran. And their skip is Kayla Skrlik. They are currently ranked number 28 in the world, number 12 in Canada, and number 3 in the province of Alberta.
Very good. That's some good info. Thank you very much.
A lot of research. I was up late studying.
Hey, like you're back in school.
Did my homework for sure. That's you got that.
Now we missed a kind of interesting shot there. Team Fujisawa accidentally splitting off their tight guard. We got pretty lucky. After this delivery, we'll have another look at it. In fact, I'll show you right now because I'm talking about it. That red rock, I think, has shot over that second yellow.
Yeah, that's really a kicker for Kayla here.
Not really going to be able to remove that one.
This is Geraldine Ramsey throwing. Originally born in Summerside, Prince Edward Island, now resides in the great city of Calgary. And a little kiss off the corner yellow guard there.
And puts it pretty much where they wanted to anyway.
Yeah, you're not gonna be mad at that one. A couple kisses and rolls into good spots here.
Yeah, a couple wiki-ticky lucky shots here, because a bonus to that one is I'm pretty sure it exposed the red stone behind that corner guard. You might be able to remove that if you wanted to now.
Yeah, I believe this red is available to hit with lightweight, or at least the Fujisawa rink thinks it is.
Not sure you'll get the chance, though. I mean, there's probably going to be other priorities in the rings. Just a little note there. This has got a long way to curl.
Holy.
It does. Gets the chip. But deposits it behind the corner guard mess. Not a great result. That Fujisawa guard quite high in the free guard zone, and with all this curl on the ice, you got to think it's not going to protect the stone very well. That Team Skrlik's going to have a crack at removing whatever gets put behind there.
Yeah, and Kayla's starting to pile stuff up in the back of the rings. They're sitting 2 right now. It's close for third. I think we both agree it's red, though.
Yeah, you know, some might consider peeling that red guard at this point. You're set up pretty well. You've got first and second shot. You've got play coming towards the wing, which is what you want. You know, in a tie game scenario, I could understand, or especially if you're leading, I could understand peeling. But no, Kayla smells blood in the water. She wants to use all the tools available to her, so she's gonna try to put one in the ring behind that red stone. Coming up light here, not a great option though.
Take a closer look at that rock where it ended up for sure. And going to be there for third shot.
Yep. Not super available for removal, but I mean, if Team Fujisawa wanted to draw the 4-foot or hit and roll behind that yellow stone, might end up acting as more of an obstacle than anything else. Very interesting setup we got going here. I love when ice is curling this much. You're never really safe with any particular guarded setup or anything like that. Always got to keep attacking, always got to keep working the rings.
Definitely.
So Fujisawa up 3. They're going to hit the open stone. Cannot fault them for that, but they're not going to get the roll. So it's going to leave a trade back for Team Skrlik. Skrlik's going to get the opportunity to roll this rock where they desire. I would guess they might want to put it behind the corner guard as well. Although, there'll always be a chance to freeze on those back stones.
That's very true. I didn't see for sure where Kayla notioned for this one to roll to.
Might be satisfied with just taking it on the nose.
This is Geraldine Ramsey with her final rock of the second end. This one's really moving. And that was about as much of a roll as you could get and still stick around for third shot.
Absolutely. Team Skrlik answering back after really a dominating first end from Team Fujisawa. That's exactly what they needed, but 2 shots left for Satsuki to try and make something happen here. No clearly hittable stone. And oh, wow, they are going to try and take advantage of these kind of overlapped center line stones. They're going to try to hide in the forefoot.
Yeah, this is where that third rock shot can come to bite Kayla a little bit. It's just acting as another guard, really, for Satsuki, and especially when that red guard is so high and would normally be so easy to get around and hit.
Yeah.
It's really starting to be more their downfall than anything.
Just checking up on the chat here. Love it when our audience kind of chimes in on the YouTube chat. Wendy McKay, is Kayla curling with just 3? Yes, she is. It appears that her normal third is not here right now. It could be something where she joins later in the tournament. And of course, all of our hellos and good mornings from the great country of Japan. Love our Japanese fans. Love it when they join us.
Love to see that.
We've got 535 watching right now.
Uncharacteristic miss there by Fujisawa, coming up quite light there. And this is really a chance for Kayla to take a stranglehold on this.
I think we're gonna have a wild game here, folks. That's just my feeling right now. First draw, new ice. Looks like freshly treated rocks as well. That's just my guess, but
been a bit of a shootout so far in the first 2 ends, that's for sure.
JR, shouting out your commentator, Rory. Thanks, JR. Son of the great Joan McCusker. You know, she commentates on Sportsnet, but I get to commentate on YouTube. I think I win that trade.
Not living in her shadows, that's for sure.
Step aside, Joan. The future is now.
Curling zone. That's where the greats call games. Kayla Skrlik's first of the second end.
Yeah, and I mean, when you give up a 3 in the first end like that, you skate back the other end and go, geez, like you want to fight that feeling of I got to get it all back right now. But it's so incredible when you actually do get that chance. You do get your first 3 or 4 stones in a really good position, and then yeah, now Kayla's got an opportunity to put the power in her hand.
And it's looking pretty close here.
Yeah.
Ashton's going to take it as far as she can get it. Right in the middle of the 8.
Flying 4 with hammer. All of them buried. Pretty good luck.
Rink looks pretty content to try and freeze onto that shot rock.
Yeah, I mean, you can put it in a right. Let me try that again. You can put that in a good spot where I don't think there's a raise run back or anything to get rid of it. So you would pretty successfully force Kayla to a shot for only 2. If you're able to curl that in there and put that on the face of the yellow. Anywhere else, you'd risk Kayla being able to attack it and getting her 4 or maybe even 5.
Yeah, holding this Alberta rink to a deuce here is definitely a victory for the Fujisawa rink at this point in the end. We'll see what she has. This Fujisawa team has had the exact same lineup since 2015, 2016. And it definitely shows with the chemistry they have, the bond they have. Very famously, one of the most lighthearted teams you'll see on tour. Always laughing, smiling. You know, they're one of the teams you love to watch because they have fun.
An infectious charm. I think
That's for sure.
Canada got to know them in Swift Current at the Women's Worlds. I'm trying to remember what year that was. Could have been 2016 or 17.
That was 2016.
Yeah. So they had that was when kind of Canadian television audience met Team Fujisawa, and they were so charming on the ice and they're so likable. In that final versus Chelsea Carey, I swear half the arena was secretly cheering for Fujisawa, even though we had our own Chelsea Carey in that final.
Yeah, they famously have a couple big silver medals. The silver medal, of course, at the 2016 World Championships, as well as a silver medal at the 2022 Olympics. Still trying to break through and grab that big championship gold.
Massive shot here. Looks pretty good. Sweeper's leaving it as it comes in. They get a corner freeze, but man, that rolls off just a slight bit.
I think Kayla's going to take on the shot for 5 here.
Just chapped off, just 1 foot heavy, I would say. If that stops anywhere sooner, I think it does the trick. But even if you lose that rock in the 4 foot, I think it's still worth it. As long as you get that redstone out of there, you're going to count all your orbiters. This looks like a shot for 3, perhaps 4, maybe even if you get it just right, 5.
Yeah, definitely a tough one, but we've seen the ice moving. They're going to believe in it. Again, we say 1 sweeper.
So here it is, last rock, second end. Trying to remedy a 3-point deficit. Kayla Skrlik, massive opportunity. Gotta curl a little bit.
Oh boy.
One makes contact, but not enough of the stone. They thought it would curl more. She may have tossed that out. They may have misread the ice. Whatever the case, does not accomplish what they're set out to do. They give up a steal. A huge swing here in the second. It is Team Fujisawa leading 4-0 after 2 ends here in Swift Current. Welcome back. Skrlik Fujisawa. Wildly entertaining first few ends. There's a big score of 3 from Fujisawa, well-earned score of 3 in the first end. And then roaring back, Team Skrlik really had something cooking. They tolerated a center guard, though, and that's the cardinal sin. Whenever you tolerate a center guard, you can expect that your opponent's going to have some kind of shot to finish things off. And that is exactly what happened. Satsuki Fujisawa used the center guard. Well, I guess it was a double center at that point. Ended up light. Team Skrlik had a chance to control the 4 foot. They did. Kayla threw her first rock, top 8-ish. And on an attempted freeze, Fujisawa makes it just good enough to create some backing. Kayla's last stone was unable to remove that rock. And here we are. It's a 4-0 lead. But not a totally dominating performance from Fujisawa. There was a lot of opportunity in that second end there, Jason.
No, I think it was definitely just, 2 opposite ends. The first one, really controlled by Fujisawa, a couple of misses from the Skrlik ring. And then on the opposite side, it just felt like Kayla's team just kept lining stuff up in the back of the rings around the ring, came to the center, and they, had a tough shot for a big score, possibly to tie it or even take the lead with a really nice shot. And it ended up really just being one that Kayla's definitely going to want back. Just maybe was a touch wide, pitched it out a bit maybe, and dead jam on the shot rock, giving up a steal on a rock where they started out sitting 1 when she let go.
And apologies, slip of the tongue there. I'm joined by Josh Usick. Josh has done his homework. I have not. So
I'm a man of many names. It's all good. Team Fujisawa, as we said, sits number 10 in the world currently. They took a victory earlier in the season at the Advix Cup in their home of Hokkaido, Japan. That was a big one. As they'll drop this one just back teeth.
3 rocks in the rings. I guess it's mission accomplished. I suppose you wouldn't want your 2 stones behind the tee line there, but as long as you're not throwing guards, I think the skip is moderately happy.
You have some room to tolerate when you're up 4 after 2 in a WCT event, I think.
Yeah.
But this is Ashton Skrlik, sister of the skipper, Kayla Skrlik, throwing her last rock. This one needs to curl up a bit.
Move some stones is the ask. Stones are moved is the result. Doesn't quite get the roll that will be available for a hit, but Fuji is going to take the more dangerous stone. She's going to work her way top to bottom, healing the top corner guard.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a half shot by Ashton there. Definitely wanted to curl a little more, maybe roll under the guards, but especially to, possibly push 2 rocks at least behind the tee line. The first mission wasn't really to kill a rock there, maybe. It probably would have been better for them to just push them back, stuff to freeze on.
Sure.
But they're going to elect to draw behind the corner now. This is Jerilyn Ramsey. Normally playing second for this team out of Calgary, but in the absence of Brittany Tran, has taken on throwing rocks 4, 5, and 6. And playing with 3 players, something the Fujisawa team has famously done, did at the COVID bubble Grand Slam a couple years ago now, very famously, and to moderate success in that as well. I believe that was when they won their Grand Slam. They had 1 Grand Slam title in their career. It was at the Canadian Open at some point. I don't actually have the year written down.
They also played with 3 when I worked at Grand Slam in Toronto Players Championship, and yeah, they were going crazy with that one. I think they made a semifinal, lost the semifinal in that one.
Yeah, not too many teams do it as good as Fujisawa. You might be able to argue Brad Gushu.
Sure, yeah. In the women's game, it's tough to think of one.
Just misses that rock in the house there.
Very close, very close. And you know what? It's a difficult shot at a new rink. Let's assume they haven't had much practice ice on this new rink, and I'm guessing fairly fresh rocks. Those ones are always tough to call the sweep. So real close there. Gets the priority stone out of the way, though.
Yeah, that's one you can't fault too many people on the ice for. You got to take it, understand you were close, the rock rolls into the rings, and primary thing is that you learn from it. This is Jerilyn Ramsey with her second of the third end. Knock it back and stick right on the nose of that back red counter. Satsuki will be content to keep hitting.
Absolutely. Pretty happy to have no guards in their way.
This is Chinami Yoshida's first.
I thought Chinami threw the run back previously. I think that was her second.
My mistake.
No problem.
My mistake. You are correct.
End is looking pretty similar no matter what. Still 2 Skrlik stones in the rings with another one to come. So, the open deuce is still very possible. Perhaps even more. There's a jam stone back there.
That's correct.
You'd like a guard or two to kind of multiply your chances of getting things sort of protected, but we're here now. A deuce keeps the game alive.
Yeah, for sure. I think a big thing this end is getting the confidence back, getting a couple points on the board. You don't want to let this one get out of hand more than it already has. This is Jalen Ramsey's final stone of the third end.
Little down weight on that, really caught the curl, and I can say from recent experience, having just played in Martinsville, beautiful curling club, James Gordon, fantastic job, and the Nutrien curling club in Saskatoon, another fantastic venue, host of the Saskatchewan men's tankard this year. When the rocks are freshly treated and there's a ton of curl on the ice, the moment you go a half second softer on your hit than you thought, you're going to get sometimes a half rock or even more of curl. So all it takes, you can hit the broom and you can have a good release, but if your weight is just a little bit down, you're going to over curl and make yourself feel silly.
Yeah, that's the thing, especially this early in the event. Your mistakes on weight are going to be amplified for sure. Not a lot of room for error in the first couple draws.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Amplified.
This is the skipper, Satsuki Fujisawa. Was born on the island of Hokkaido, now makes her home in Nagano, Japan.
Closer to the Kurosawa High Performance Curling Center is my guess. Ooh, this one's got a curl. Just barely makes contact with the second one. That double was super available. Pretty big mixed opportunity there.
Yeah, and Kayla's going to be happy just to nose this. There's going to be 3 stones, about as far as target you can get them.
Yep.
And
not a very obvious double opportunity for Fuji on her next one. If, of course, Kayla's able to make this hit and stick. I bet they'll take it on, though.
Kayla seems to like her out turn here. Kayla Skrlik, famously, relevant in this game, famously half Japanese.
Ah.
And I guess Ashton Skrlik would be as well.
Sure, yeah.
So maybe this game's hitting a little close to home. Maybe.
That's very interesting, actually. I didn't think of that, but yeah, it is relevant, and I wonder if our Japanese fans on YouTube are aware of this fun fact.
I'm sure they know who they're cheering for.
Yeah, it's not enough to sway them, hey? All right, rolls that a little close to the other stone. I don't know if that's so bad, though. That's pretty kind of thin double.
Not a lot of nice doubles.
No, I still think that Fuji will take it on. I did see that you could see them motion with their broom that they're happy with the hit and roll here.
Definitely. You don't want to get too cute with anything.
You can see Kitami lining up where she thinks the double is. So, those two spots are a mere few inches away from each other, whether they make the double or whether they make the hit and roll. We'll call the sweep accordingly, you would think.
Exactly.
So this game, pretty crazy so far. We've got double-digit potential. This is curling a lot. And a little roll. Not going to be enough to really create a jam opportunity. That's going to be a hit and stick for 3. The Team Skrlik. So they do get the 3 that they were hoping for. Not in the most traditional of ways, but hard fight through at the end. Both teams kind of figuring out the ice and the rocks, getting a lot of swing at a certain stone, experimenting with their weight, doing all the things that teams do in the first draw of a new tournament to try and get themselves set up for success.
Yeah, definitely not your run-of-the-mill opening few ends to a brand new event.
Yeah.
Bit of a shootout so far here, but we might see things settle down as we should see these teams come a little closer together if Kayla can make this for 3.
Most definitely. for last stone. It's a hit for 3. Looks pretty good. Wanted it to curl a little bit, but that's going to settle in. It's 3 points and then a big 3. Going to bring this game within 1 point headed into the 4th end. It's going to be Team Fujisawa with a 1-point lead with hammer when we return. Here we are. One of these days, I'm going to get my rocks preset before we cut back from commercial. But the hammer is correct. It is Fujisawa with hammer. 1 point up. Looks like we got a center guard in play from Team Skrlik. A really good center guard. Right tight to the house. Directly on the center line. Can't tick that thing. And with the super swingy ice, the only way a center guard is going to be effective is if it is really close to the house like that. So, job well done. And Team Fujisawa answers with a nicely placed rock in the top of the 8-foot.
Yeah, Kayla will be content to come right around that. Leaves it a little bit high, just about an inch past the 12-foot, maybe a couple inches. This is Ashton Skrlik. Kayla's taken a number of wins on the Alberta Curling Series so far this season. They won the Curling Stadium ACS number 3 in Beaumont, Alberta, the Ladies Alberta Open in Okotoks, and they won the Curling Stadium Alberta Tour Kickoff in Leduc, Alberta. They defeated Nancy Martin in the final of that one, who I believe is here this week. Rory, you probably know better than I do.
I didn't see her name, but that
Nope.
would make sense. I got it up right here. We'll take a peek. Defeating Nancy Martin, no easy task.
No, a lot of experience on that team, and taking a bit of a younger core to that team. Of course, passed up on her longtime partnership with Sherry Anderson to skip her own rink 2 years ago. I guess she did that now.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes when you know that you want your own kind of thing. Two leaders sometimes. You just know it's not going to be compatible. I understand that decision, although that was a powerful duo for many, many years in Saskatchewan.
Well, and it was Nancy Martin runner-up at the Saskatchewan Scotties last year, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Might have been. My memory's not so good with that kind of stuff.
Seems like I know more about the Japanese championships than I do about my home province here, but
There's more news.
Yeah.
More news about the Japanese. Well, my cat knows it's streaming season. Here's me talk, here's me pressing buttons. He wants all over this keyboard. That's one of the hazards of the job, I would say.
And speaking of the Provincial Scotties Championships, Kayla Skrlik will be looking to defend her Alberta Scotties Championship this year.
Yep.
As she won her first provincial title last year, ran the way to a 4-4 showing at the 2023 Scotties Tournament of Hearts, missing playoff.
With a fantastic final shot to win it, which you can watch on Curling Zone's YouTube page. We had the streaming rights for that Alberta Scotties, which means we believe in power to the people. We put all of that stuff online for free. You don't have to deal with copyright or television broadcast, this, that, or whatever the heck the other thing is. Kayla Skrlik shot to win Alberta Scotties. It'll be one of the top videos on our YouTube page. If you are watching this game, I suggest you take a 30-second break and go watch that shot. It was fantastic. As pressure could get.
You know, I think talking about how good of a shot it was, I think it downplays Ashton Skrlik's celebration a little bit. That was one of the best curling celebrations, I think, of all time.
The two-handed broom throw and like flex woo.
I think she tossed that broom into the Milky Way. That thing went flying.
Yeah, her and Pat Simmons' best broom tosses in curling history. Perhaps.
That's true. That's true.
That was a good one.
This is Geraldine Ramsey getting in the hack now.
Comment in the chat. Taichi, I believe Satsuki Fujisawa is still based at Kitami, Hokkaido. Kitami, Hokkaido. That might be true, but we're only as good as the information in front of us, so I always appreciate it when fans are chipping in information into the chat. You're going to learn a lot if you open that YouTube chat, people. I know working computers is very hard, but if you are watching on a PC, even on a smart TV, I think you can get the comment section up. Get that comment section up, and then if you're using a mouse or on your phone, you can right-click on the screen or press the 3 dots on your phone. You can select Translate to English, and that turns all of our lovely Japanese fans' characters into English readable comments, and I promise you, you will learn something if you do this. So just to repeat my special instructions there, right-click in the chat, right where you see all the words. Translate to English will be an option that comes up on your browser. Click that button, and you will be enlightened by the views of our Japanese viewers, which are up to, at this point, 711 people watching right now, and I'm willing to bet 400 or 500 of those are from the great country of Japan. So keep on chiming in, people. It helps me learn. It helps the audience learn, and it's one of the beautiful things about watching online versus watching on a television broadcast.
Yeah, I might have to update Satsuki's Wikipedia page. My studying might have failed me a bit there. I might have to watch what I say. We'll get Taichi in here to fact check me every time I say a fun fact, I guess.
All right, so no guards in play. A nice frozen stone at the top of the rings. Satsuki gonna hit the open one.
Solid throw. You always like to get those ones out of your belt.
Yeah, especially mid-game, you take what you learned from that and try to make the rest of them for the rest of the game.
Yep. Geraldine Ramsey back in the hack. Said her name a number of times today. Ashton Skrlik caught switching sides a bit there. That's the downside of their one sweeper here.
Threw it so well, it barely mattered. Lucky for her.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a hesitation. Switch back, then go back to the other side. But shot was made well enough anyway.
Trading hits here. Team Skrlik will have to be careful if these ever work their way higher and higher in the house. There might be a double, but those rocks are so well frozen. I'll give you guys a nice overhead look here.
This is Yoshida's last, and it looks like a nice hit and roll there into the 4-foot. Wow.
Really nice. And you know what? If she puts that half a rock one way or the other, there's probably a run double. But now the way she's placed that, the middle red's going to stuff right into it. So no way to get rid of both of those red stones, I don't think, without losing your shooter, losing everything, and giving up a blank opportunity, of course. So close little drag, though, so you can kind of send this red one wherever you want. I think the priority, though, is leaving 2 yellow stones not doubleable. Kayla's got an opportunity to force Fuji to score here. Just gotta wonder how aggressive do you get with that versus defending a chance for 2. So the in turn. I wonder where they decided to roll this one.
Here's a skip, Kayla Skrlik. With her first of the fourth end. Coming in with some weight for sure.
Curling already. Gonna be a challenge to hang on to this one. Okay. Not an easy double, but that's a pretty good angle that they've created there. I don't think you can double those off without jamming.
Yeah, it's lined up pretty good in Skrlik's favor, you'd think. And it doesn't look like the Fujisawa team's even going to suggest it.
Mm-hmm.
Might even try hitting the other one.
Yeah, would you ever be able to throw an out turn and get just a little bit of a roll over to the wing, make a really hard double opportunity for Skrlik? Might give yourself a chance at 2.
I'm not sure. I think Team Fujisawa is looking at the right options here. I think there's ways to roll inside a little bit and not leave a nice double on the reds.
Sure. They're also looking at line 2 right now, removing the outside stone, line 2, and kind of daring Skrlik to either make a hit and roll or a double, or else they are going to have a chance at 2 points, which being up 1 point in the fourth end, 2 would be really good right now. 2 is always good.
Had a bit of a costume change from Satsuki Fujisawa in between ends.
She's got the parka out.
Well, you know what? If there was ever a year to make the trip from Japan to Canada, it was probably this year. It's pretty nice in Saskatchewan for December.
Absolutely.
But cold nonetheless is the Japanese skip.
A lot of potential here. Looks pretty good. You're going to get the hit. They're going to roll just a little too far, I would say. Leaves a pretty makeable, inside double.
Yeah, you can nut that one for sure.
Yeah, there's a traditional term to describe this double that I'm trying to find a different way to say. Right in the center of these 2 stones. As long as you hit half rock or less, you're gonna make it happen. Trying to figure out that audio issue, why it's cutting out every here and there, folks. Not so sure. Oop, didn't get my camera switched. Sorry, everybody. Kayla's fine with stone, coming down the ice, trying to make a double.
Calls off action. Nice shot from Kayla there.
Really, really nice roll as well. I don't see a blank. She could try it. She could absolutely blast it a little bit on the intern side. Maybe try to roll out.
I don't think it's in the Fujisawa playbook. I think they're going to be content to take a 2-point lead into recess here, if you will.
These are pretty close together. I mean, you could try. Just giving up the steal is so costly. I bet you're right. I don't think they'll even think about that. Double takeout, nonetheless. Final shot, Satsuki Fujisawa. I think Team Skrlik did their job. And now Satsuki's got to make good on this double attempt to avoid giving up a steal. 1 and 2 gets it done. So it'll be a 2-point lead, our first single point scored of the game. The team with hammer scoring every. Oh no, there was a steal in the second end. Forced to a single. That's the moral of the story here. It'll be Team Skrlik with hammer down 2 in the 5th when we return. We are back. Big shout out to Nutrien, sponsor of this, title sponsor of this Western Showdown. Quite a few local and national and international companies choosing curling as their sponsorship subjects. We appreciate you all. And curlers are loyal folks. I can tell you, growing up, every professional that my family interacted with was connected to curling in some way. Doctor, dentist, people who came to work on the house, painter, roofer, all of these people, this is all part of the curling community. So if you are a business and you're approached by a curling team for sponsorship, I would give it a good long think, because like I said, it's all in the family kind of thing with this sport. So big shout out to Nutrien throwing their hat in the ring for the Western Showdown here in Swift Current. We've had a fantastic opening draw. It's sometimes you see teams kind of just testing out the ice and testing out each other, playing simple shots, keeping clean ends. That is not what has been happening so far. We have been treated to some rocks in play and some very interesting curling so far.
Yeah, it was definitely mission accomplished from Kayla Skrlik in the fourth end. Down 4 after 2, I'm sorry. Not what you want to see on draw 1 of an event, but the 3 in the third was huge, and a tough shot for the force for Fujisawa. It's not a gimme anytime you need to make a double for 1. So right back into it. A deuce gets them to tie. And they're right back in it. Rory, I'd love to go around the rings and check up on some scores in the other games if you're cool with that.
Let's do it.
All right. Over on Sheet B, we have Sheet B, we have Michelle Jaggy from Bern, Switzerland. She's taking on Robin Silvernagel, Saskatchewan team out of North Battleford. And they are knotted up at 2 after 5. They're a bit ahead of us. They've played 5, and it's 2-2 tie. Jaggy just took 1 in the 5th to knot it up. Silvernagel with hammer in the 5th. On Sheet C, it is the Kim team out of Korea, leading Holly Duncan out of Woodstock, Ontario. That game is 2-1 at recess. It'll be Kim with the hammer up 1 in the 5th. On Sheet D, it's Eunji Kim, also out of Korea, taking on the Michelle Englot team out of Regina, Saskatchewan. And that one's getting a little ugly. 7-1. The Korean rink leads Michelle Englot at the 4th end break. And then finally on Sheet 5, it is the Italian rink, Constantini, knotted up at 2 with Amber Holland out of the small town of Crono, Saskatchewan, population about 300. It'll be Amber Holland holding the hammer in the 5th. All those games, I believe, are available to be streamed on Curling Zone YouTube.
Absolutely they are. Toss this one out a little bit. We'll remove 1 guard. Not good enough, though. It's Fujisawa with control down the middle. So some fun facts about those games on the ice. The small town of Crono, just outside of Regina. Probably one of the closest rinks to Regina without being in Regina, Saskatchewan. Fantastic year-end bonspiel. We put a few teams in every year. That's a dress up and listen to music on the ice, bring your drink out on the ice kind of bonspiel. I look forward to it every year. The Amber Holland rink, lots of experience there. That they have not qualified for provincials yet. I think that'll be a really strong last chance team. And another little point to make, Michelle Jaggy, the Swiss team on the sheet next to us. Fun story about how they got started curling. Bern, Switzerland was host to the, I want to say it was the 93, maybe 94 World Championships that my mother's team, Sandra Schmirler rink, was competing in. And Michelle Jaggy's father was their team driver for the event. So young Michelle would have been just a young schoolgirl, maybe even a toddler. Got to know curling for the first time through my mom's team and took a liking to it, put some hard work in, and now she's one of the top teams in Switzerland. So just funny how that all works out. Just takes a little bit of inspiration at a young age, and curling can become your number 1 sport, and there's a lot of opportunity in this sport. So for all you parents out there, I'm sure your kids are in multiple sports. If they have a liking for curling, don't get caught thinking that there's no competitive future in curling. There most certainly is.
I've always held that curling's one of the best sports, especially for girls to play. I think it's definitely one of the most progressive sports out there for women.
I mean, the numbers back that up. The Scotties and the Women's World Championships get just as high number as the men's, and in fact, there are some years where the Scotties is outwatched. What am I saying here? The Scotties gets more viewers than the Brier for certain metrics. So, if you want to talk about equity in sports and even representation, I don't know if you can do better than curling, especially in a winter team sport like this.
Well, and I think it says something that you got 2 men up here in the commentary booth and 40 women out on the ice getting the job done, I guess. Eh?
And both of us thrilled to be watching what we're watching. Fantastic curling game.
It's a great game, yeah.
Yep, well said.
Fujisawa is going to slide a little bit deeper than they wanted here, I believe.
Well, just a little note, it is almost noon Tokyo time. So, good morning. Good afternoon, all of our friends in Japan. It's good to catch everybody at a normal time where everyone is awake. Although I got to say, I've broadcast at 4 a.m. Tokyo time, and I've had hundreds of viewers on here. So some of the most loyal and passionate and tuned in curling fans in the world, if not the most. Country of Japan, the future looks bright. Now, all of you watching on YouTube, go to your local curling club and throw a few rocks. That's my next push for the Japanese curling fans. See if you can get some more clubs built out there. Make it, instead of an Olympic sport, make it just a sport everyone plays.
Kayla looking to start hitting here, I believe, eh?
Yeah, I mean, so you've got your kind of corner guards set up, but you have to, I mean, not beautiful corner guards, but you have to get rid of these middle rocks at some point. May as well start right now. The other way you could think about things is play to the middle, maybe make a tap or a freeze, but that's kind of an ugly way to score multiple points.
Yeah, I think they're probably seeing a little more red than they like to. There's definitely an opportunity to get rid of a couple, maybe only one, but getting rid of one and rolling behind your corners there is a good result nonetheless. This is Geraldine Ramsey. Ashton Skrlik on the scrub.
Only gonna get one.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll away from the corners as well. Not the result I think they were looking for there. And the Fujisawa rink will look to do a little bit better on that guard again as well, I believe, here.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm surprised, but it's definitely a decision to not hit that open yellow.
That's true. That's very true.
They have an advantage down the middle. There's only a few rocks left in the end. I can understand this call. Nothing that surprising about it, but it's just it's a decision. Makes the guard, protects their rocks.
Yeah, I think you can probably not seeing much of anything of either of those reds. I didn't see that top guard for about a half second.
Just with how much it's curling, I thought they might attempt a outturn kind of hack waiter, see if they could juggle things around, leave two yellows in the rings. It's not desperation time yet. It is the fifth end. You want to make sure that you have a shot at a single point, keep the game alive.
I think you're going to see Ramsey here looking for the double peel, I believe. Maybe if they're lucky, that red goes backwards and hits some bad guys in the rings there. Gonna get one, gonna touch the other one, and gets it out of the way, if anything, covering that yellow.
Kind of a weird way to make the double peel, but that's I might consider that made. Kind of lucky positioning.
Yeah, you don't hate that at all. At least Geraldine Ramsey seems to be happy with it. That was a solid high five she gave to Ashton. And Fujisawa will be content to look at the guard again, I believe, here. Or maybe not. What are you seeing up there, Roy?
Yeah, I mean, you can't protect both of those. I don't think.
That's true.
There is a double if you leave the kind of outside red exposed. There is a way to get rid of both of those and stick your shooter. So yeah, a little bit dangerous. Again, that's why I was a little surprised to see them guard. Although you would hate to leave those stones exposed for Skrlik to make a hit and roll to get some cover. Yeah, as per usual, another interesting end. Not a ton of ice. This has been sort of a straighter spot in the ice. We saw some hits not really snap in this spot.
It looks like the Japanese rink is looking for the curl here.
Yeah. May have got that a little outside. The room was only halfway into the 8-foot, so. And that'll finish up nicely. I think that's a good spot.
That's a pretty solid spot from Satsuki.
Although that double that I was talking about, Kayla walks right up. Step right up and make a double. I don't know if you can, the weight required to remove both. You just don't have to remove both. You really just have to push them kind of deep into the 12-foot. The key will be sticking your shooter around.
That's true. A bit of an aggressive call here from Kayla, but she's been chasing most of this game, and I think if she sees an opportunity to get herself back even, she's going to take it.
Yeah.
And this is a good setup shot for her last. Probably see just about half of that target red from the half. But this is the Skrlik connection once again. Kayla on the release, Ashton on the sweep. Here's Kayla Skrlik's first out of the Garrison Curling Club in Calgary. Right off, right out of her hand.
Line looks really good. Gets the one. Ooh, they need a little thinner.
They're going to push it out into the open, though.
Yeah, they're going to leave two of theirs buried in the rings. Going to kind of force Fujisawa to keep attacking. If she leaves any of this rock open, there might be a double for 3.
Yeah, you're not going to hate that result if you're Kayla, but definitely wish you could have pushed that red a little bit more. I think you probably would have rather hit less of that target red.
Yes. Sometimes we get caught thinking, oh, I have to just breeze by the guard. You know, the guard's in the way. I got to get as close to the guard as possible. I've definitely been guilty of that before. But that's not always the case, you know? Like, just because the guard is a pretty good guard and it's going to be in your way, you still want to make sure that you're hitting your target rock in the exact spot that you need to in order to make the action happen.
That's a good point.
They may have got caught thinking, okay, we just got to play this port perfectly.
I think it definitely caught me right there. Fujisawa coming straight to the 4-foot here, correct, Roy?
Yeah, you saw them tapping top 8 as well. I mean, they'd love to be second shot, but the ultimate sin here would be coming deep and leaving a double.
That's very true.
So it's Fuji's last rock here in the 5th end. Got to put her rock in a decent position to avoid a shot for 3. Fully buried, biting top 4. Would seem to be perfect. Need this to curl a ton.
It's coming. Looks like they're going to take it back.
Okay. Good plan B. I don't see a double. I mean, you got to run back, even at that. Not what they were intending, but they're able to manage the stone well enough. Good communication, no surprise there from Japanese team Fujisawa.
I mean, that was a team shot right there, and I think that's what you got to expect when you have a team like Fujisawa that's been around for 7 years with the same lineup, you know. Great communication. You saw Satsuki following right behind the sweepers there. Communication going all 4 ways. And even though the shot wasn't made as intended, it leaves Kayla with only a shot for 1 here.
Just want to mention we're up to 883 viewers for draw 1 of this Western Showdown. Just goes to show how important this tournament has become over the years. Absolutely premier on spiel.
And a solid throw by Kayla to score 1.
Yep. Fujisawa did enough. Force her opponent to a single point. We have a 1-point game, though. Much like the 4th end, it's going to be Team Fujisawa with 1-point lead and the hammer. Still anyone's game the way that these teams have been playing. We'll have that 6th end for you when we return. Welcome back. We got a close game. Couple of singles leaves us with a 5-4 scoreline. Team Fujisawa with hammer in the 6th end. Just to speak on those commercials, love the new set of commercials we got from our fantastic sponsors. Swift Current, Saskatchewan, can confirm. Fantastic city. Really lovely downtown, lots of healthy businesses. Went to the coolest farmers market I think I've ever been to in Swift Current last summer. A little warmer weather than the rest of the province. I mean, that's not saying much in Saskatchewan, but worth a visit. Swift Current in the entire southwest of the province.
You can't forget the Innovation Plex.
Yeah, where we are right now.
Facility.
Yeah, fantastic curling club and home of the WHL Swift Current Broncos. Yeah, fantastic facility on the south side of town there. Good point.
This is Ashton Skrlik. All 3 members of the team are jumping up to sweep this one.
But they're not actually sweeping.
No one's actually got a brush down except for the skipper. That's a rarity there. But the shot seems to be made either way.
Josh Usick here on the commentary with me. We're having a lot of fun here Wednesday night. Really entertaining game. Lots of rocks in play, and it looks like we're going to have another end of the same.
This is the Japanese lead. It's Yurika Yoshida.
Some more rock watching. Ice breaking down nicely. The sheet's been worked kind of front to back pretty well. No particular draw path overused, so whole sheet looking like it's going to be pretty consistent time-wise. But you know, Eureka's had a little bit of trouble getting her weight down. That's not the first time she's sent a draw either light or into the back of the rings. That time going completely through.
And this is Ashton Skrlik's 3rd of the end. The youngest player in this game. She's currently 24 years old. The younger sister to Kayla. Rory, you ever see it the other way? Where the younger sibling is the skip and the older one's playing?
That's a super stat right there, because no, I have not.
No, you haven't?
I have not.
It's definitely a rarity.
Oh, no. Dallin and Kirk Myers.
Kirk is younger, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, Dallin did end up skipping his own team eventually, but I think that's the only example that I can think of at the top of my head where younger took the back end role.
The second team Saskatchewan up the Canadian Juniors this past year. Shout out to Matthew and Adam Druitt.
Oh, yes.
Matthew, a couple years younger than his older brother, Adam. Adam, who was throwing thirds. Matthew, who was calling the game and throwing fourths. I think those might be the only two I can think of for sure.
Oh,
nice feel there.
4 rocks leave the rings. 3 rocks leave the rings and the shooter. That is top notch.
Courtesy of Yumi Suzuki.
Top notch shot. She can chuck some bombs.
You're seeing it more and more in the women's game now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some kind of technique revolution in some kind of way. It used to be there was only 1, maybe 2 players a team, sometimes 0, that could throw that kind of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And now even, short Japanese ladies can chuck their 7-second hits.
Well, it's just a virtue of like the strategy that was built into the women's side of the game as well. That it was just a lot more delicate of a game played on the women's side. But I think they're a lot more open to hucking them down there, getting a lot of rocks moving now.
That's a good point. Yeah, the men's and women's game probably closer together now than it's ever been.
Yeah.
You've got both like many sexes coaching each teams. Like I've seen female coaches coaching men's teams. A lot of men in the women's game at this point. A lot of retired men's curlers.
That's very true.
Coaching the women's team, so that's eventually going to trickle through. Fellas, there's no shame in having a woman coach your team. Absolutely not.
You can believe him because his mother. Very famous curler.
Not always the best idea to have your mom coach your team, though. Just multiple reasons for that.
Here's Geraldine Ramsey. About to deliver her second of the 6th end.
Nice point from Tai Chi. Very engaged fan. He's telling us that the DuPont sisters from Denmark, younger one plays skip, Madeline DuPont. Good point. I'm sure there's a few examples. But especially here in Sask, very family game. Ooh, I interrupt my story to bring you a hogged rock. Significantly hogged rock. That is not the solution because now the house is wide open.
Yep, and this is attack time for Fujisawa here.
Yeah, she could pursue a blank if she wanted, but with that corner guard still available, I mean, yeah, why not?
You do not mind scoring in the 6th at all.
Of course. If you want to understand the significance of scoring in the 6th, curlingzone.com has a free analytics kind of matrix for any aspiring skip. Someone wanted to learn more about curling. You go to curlingzone.com and in that top menu bar, you select analytics. Select the season that you want to see. Select the men, women's, or doubles game. And you are going to have yourself free information.
Take a page out of my book, do your homework.
Oh, I live on that page. So in 2021-22 season, actually, let's go the most recent. 2023 season for women's. The difference is if you score in the 6th end, so 2 ends remaining, the difference in winning the game can be as high as 30%. You go from a 52% chance of winning the game if it's tied with hammer to an 84% chance of winning the game if you're 1 point up after 6. So.
Yeah, and it's not something you open the game with, terribly worrying about, got to blank the first, got to score in the second. But as you get into the 5th and 6th, I think that's where teams start to think about what end am I scoring in and when am I going to have hammer. And especially if you're down, you want to try and manipulate the game so that you could try to end up with hammer in the last end. But yeah, it's looking like the opposite for the Skrlik rink here.
Now, with the no-tick rule, we've seen a really dramatic increase of teams without hammer being able to figure things out in that last end. So looking at only a 66.7% chance of winning the game. Oh, I also misquoted the stat there. That was with hammer. If you're up one with hammer, you have a 84.1% chance. So if Fuji was to blank this end, she would have an 84.1% chance of winning the game by the numbers. Whereas if she scores a single point, that goes up to 90. So a moderate increase, 84 to 90. Now, if she's up 3 points, so scoring 2 here, that shoots her up to 97.7%. Looks like there's only 2 cases where the team lost the game after being up 3 with hammer. Oh, I'm looking at the hammer stat again. It's 93% without hammer. I've already jumbled my words enough that, folks, if you're interested in what I'm talking about, you just go to curlingzone.com/analytics, and you don't need my very confusing rundown. You can just
You're shooting a lot of numbers at me here. I'm starting to, my head's spinning a bit here.
Yeah. That was predictable.
I'm no Skip, that's for sure. I don't worry about that stuff too much. Kayla's going to try and chase this red behind the corner here. She can probably see almost all of it from the hacky thing.
Yeah, it'd be nice to leave 3 in the rings, but even if you lose your back yellow, it's not the end of the world.
You got a big chance for a force here, and I think that's big. I think Kayla's probably hoping to force deuce and then go hard for the steal in the 8th. There is probably your best case scenario for her. So I think just killing this red for sure is a huge step forward in that direction.
Yeah, you don't see it as often, but you could try to blank the 7th end with 5 rock rule and with the no tick rule. It's if the lead makes their shots, a blank is a lot of work. So you normally see teams just go for it, but that's always an option. Get the force here, blank the 7th. Gonna be decent hit weight.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to underthrow this one and risk taking that back yellow. Ashton will get on this one early. And the quick switch there.
Removes the red. Leaves 3 yellow stones in the rings. Beautiful shot.
We'll jumble around a bit. She'll tick both in the rings there, but
yeah, I guess the only downside is she moved her stone off the back 4 foot. So now there's a freeze attempt that's going to leave Fuji as shot rock.
That's true. That's a pretty nice outcome to kiss every rock in the rings and still leave 3 yellows.
Big parka and thick pink gloves for Satsuki Fujisawa.
Yeah, they stand out here.
Still a good chance of scoring multiple here. Just has to make a nice freeze, and it's going to force Kayla into a more difficult shot.
Yeah, there's no real risk here for Fujisawa.
May as well try it.
Front end's on the sweep early. Looks like it might be gliding a bit. Probably going to leave a touch bump.
Yeah, bumped it a bit, and I think there is enough to see where you can remove that. Got to be aware of the jam, though. I think the nose is pretty close to jamming, so got to get inside enough that you're going to avoid that back yellow.
I think Kayla's got a fair bit of air for sure around that red corner guard. Maybe want it to curl a little bit more.
For sure, yeah. Slightly overswept, I would say.
They're looking at the jam possibility here. Definitely something to keep in mind. You don't want to gift Fujisawa a deuce here. You'd like to force him to want it. You'd like to make him work for it. But it looks like even if this is made by Kayla Skrlik, it's probably going to be a rather open shot for the single for Fujisawa. But a big shot in the sixth either way from the skip from the Garrison Curling Club.
Yeah, she's made a few in a row. This looks like it's got to move quite a bit.
Just going to sneak it behind that back yellow.
Gets it going. Sorry, bad camera work there, folks. Still getting the groove of things. It's going to be 3 Skrlik rocks in the rings. Got the force they wanted.
Yeah, and an open shot, but it's never a gimme when you're looking at a lot of opposing colored rocks. With that being said, Fujisawa is one of the more level-headed skips you'll see in the women's game today. Do you draw here, Rory, or you like the hit?
I mean, it's whatever you're thinking. If I'm a sweeper, I want the draw. I want the power in my hands to make sure that, I mean, all you need is the 8 foot. You also want to make sure your skip is feeling good about that draw for the 8th end. But, you know, when you're the skip in the hack, or sorry, it's skip in the house, you don't want to throw something just because you think you should. You want to throw what you know in your heart you have the highest chance of making. So looks like she eventually went with the draw. I think you gotta have confidence in that.
I think that's the call as well. I think especially 6th end, you gotta be able to hit the 4 foot here. And I think power's in her hands. I think she'll make it.
So, using her sweepers, open draw, got to bite the 4 foot for her single point in the 6th end. Got a little casual there. Sweepers left it to the end, but they get it there. Full 4 foot. It's going to be a single point for Team Fujisawa. Another single. 2-point lead heading into the 7th end. It'll be Team Skrlik with some work to do when we return. Welcome back. 7th end. Started out pretty wild, but things have sort of settled in here. Some singles in the last 3 ends. Big score of 3 to get things started for Team Fujisawa. Then in the 2nd end, Team Skrlik looked like they had a big answer brewing. They had a shot for at least 3, maybe 4 if they make it perfect. I think it was 5. But they end up under curling, giving up a steal. That was a 4-0 lead. Next end, though, they got their 3 in a kind of open fashion in the 3rd. And then 4th, 5th, and 6th have been singles traded back and forth. So it's a 2-point lead for Team Fujisawa here in the 7th.
I'll take over for a short second here as we look around the rings. There's 5 games on the ice here at the iPlex in Swift Current. Tonight, all on the women's side of this Western Showdown event. On sheet 2, it's the Swiss rink of Michelle Yagi, leading Robin Silvernagel through 6 ends of North Battleford, Saskatchewan. It's 3-2 with a steal of 1 in the 6th for the Yagi rink, and Silvernagel has the hammer in the 7th. Eunjung Kim has a 4-1 lead over Holly Duncan of Woodstock, Ontario. That is also through 6 ends. It was a steal of 1 in the 6th for the Kim rink, which leaves Holly Duncan with hammer in the 7th, down 3. It was handshakes after 6 on sheet 4. Eunji Kim of South Korea took an 11-2 decision over Michelle Englot out of the Highland Curling Club in Regina. And on sheet 5, it's Stefania Constantini, all knotted up at 3 with Amber Holland of the Chrono Curling Club in Chrono, Saskatchewan. It'll be Amber Holland with Hammer in the 7th over there. And all of those games, including our feature here between Skrlik and Fujisawa, are available to watch on curlingzone.com and youtube.com/curlingzone.
Absolutely. Free curling. Year 3 of free curling. It has been a thrill. Team sponsors getting more recognition, events getting higher sponsorship and viewership. The curling sport as a whole getting more exposure, more worth it for teams to travel, more options for fans, new fans being created because things are available online. I cannot go on enough about how free curling has changed the world of our sport. So thank you for tuning in with us, for commenting on YouTube, for sharing these streams with your friends and family. Don't keep it a secret. Tell everybody you know, hey, I'm watching free curling tonight on YouTube. Here's the link. That helps us more than anything. So thank you to all our supporters, our fans, sponsors, the whole shebang.
Looks like Ashton Skrlik in the hack now for her 3rd and final of the 7th end.
Should mention she almost managed to hog her 2nd guard, but a big sweep gets that thing barely over the hog line. Very important when trying to score multiple points. Misses the double peel. Will only get one moving. Her shooter rolls to the side.
Yeah, and that's a shot that Ashton's probably not too used to throwing, being a regular lead. But in the absence of Brittany Tran, she's obviously throwing the 1st, 2nd rock.
Yep, good point.
This is Yumi Suzuki, the 2nd for the Fujisawa rink. And she'll just replace the guard nicely. Rory, if you're Kayla Skrlik, how badly do you need to score here?
I mean, scoring 1 and giving up 1 are both probably similar outcomes. I guess you're a little better off scoring 1. You really, really want 2. You really, really want 3. But you very much need 2. Going into that last end without the power in your hands, so to speak, especially if you're down a point already, you're just stealing to force another extra, odds are getting pretty long at that point. So I'd say quite bad. 1, 2, just barely not 3. That's still a great shot.
Yeah, double peel made, but it does leave the yellow out in front. It's not covering the red per se, but it's definitely not in a great spot. It's definitely not a great corner guard out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the price of going for it, right? You're trying to get 3 rocks moving. You know you're going to leave your shooter there. But, yeah, got to go for it at that point. Like you said, pretty high guard. All it's going to do is make this guard a little more easily makeable. There's more forgiveness on the center line side. But, you're one step closer to getting access to that rock in the forefoot.
This is Yumi Suzuki once again. And that'll be a made shot from her. Pretty nice end for you as a 2nd if all you got to throw is 2 center guards.
For sure.
Never mad at that. A little bit of a stat padding end for Suzuki there.
It's like about a 12-foot run back. 10 to 12 feet. Super makeable. Not easy.
Jerry Lynn Ramsey, usual 2nd on this team. Obviously playing a little bit out of her position, throwing 3 rocks. Ashton Skrlik's on the sweep early.
It's pretty close. It's 1. Oh, inches. Maybe even 1 inch. Blew by. That's a super unfortunate miss. You're going to leave 2 center guards. 2 failed run back attempts. Both of them quite difficult, but that's the price you pay.
And that's a big miss, leaving your shooter right out in front. You're clogging up the center a lot there.
Yeah.
And the Fujisawa rank will be content to just keep piling stuff in front of that shot rock. This is Chinami Yoshida, throwing her first to the 7th end. Line looks really nice on this one. It's going to be basically the same shot for Jerry Lynn Ramsey. But there's an extra rock in the 4-foot now for her to get rid of. Skrlik on the sweep early again.
Looks close. Bam, bam. Pretty good.
That's a little nicer. Be a little happier with that one than her first.
Running out of rocks here, though.
Yeah, this is feeling a lot similar to the opening end we had here tonight, where our fans watching, all, 800 of them watching now, didn't get to see most of that end due to some technical issues, but felt like a lot of Fujisawa jamming up in front of their shot rock. And Skrlik, a couple misses and maybe just a little late trying to bail. Of course, Skrlik's in a little different position here, really needing to score.
Yeah, but the function in the end, I get what you're saying, pretty similar. This time, however, there's, right now anyway, only one obstacle to get rid of. They have a rock semi-buried, so that's their second point, I guess. So as of right now, the way it stands right now, there is a run back for 2.
That's true.
We'll see what Fujisawa can do about that, though. And I guess the draw path, the in-turn draw path, a little bit cut off by the sort of reverse stagger of those guards. Maybe, I don't even know if it's going to be...
Yeah, that top yellow guard is really high. It makes it really not a nice draw to look at.
Probably still there, but you have to throw a lot of rotation, trust your sweepers to keep that straight.
Bit of deliberation from the Japanese rank here. An update on sheet 2 is Robin Silvernagel taking a deuce in the 7th to lead 4-3. Yagi will have the hammer in the 8th, down 1, as Satsuki Fujisawa delivers her first of the 7th end here on sheet 1. And that's about right where she wanted to put that, I believe. Kayla Skrlik will take a look as she prepares for her first of the 7th end. Couple long runbacks they're looking at here. And they're going to look to move 3 stones with this rock. It's going to be red onto yellow onto red in the 4-foot. Hopefully to sit 2 and leave Fujisawa looking at a couple yellows as she throws her last here.
Yeah, I was wondering if they might run back the other yellow, but I guess the advantage here is even if you miss, clear up the middle.
Yeah, I think you probably like a little more closer to nose is where you need to hit this. Although he's not going to get it.
And she's not going to touch the next yellow as well. So that's not a nice result.
Yeah, and the downside with that shot is if you miss it that way, you're looking at a real tough one for your last, most likely.
Going to be tough to guard both runbacks, though. I think you might have to go straight into the rings if you're Team Fujisawa. Give yourself the best chance at keeping those reds around.
I think I agree with you there. I think that's definitely the call. Here's Satsuki Fujisawa, skip out of the Tokoro Curling Club in Hokkaido, Japan, with her last in the 7th end.
Not an easy draw. That kind of reverse stagger we were talking about. Path is pretty tight. Oh, they are going to throw a guard. Nothing wrong with that. Worst case, you give up 2. You give up a really nice shot to give up 2. So take an easier of the 2 shots. Cannot falter for that.
And they're going to take away the easier run back for Kayla Skrlik.
Yeah, probably still there if you wanted it. I think it's whatever way you want, but you're right. That kind of angle makes it more difficult for sure.
Yeah.
A little more path involved, and yeah, I think you have to take on some kind of run back. Scoring 1's not going to do it here. Really have to take your shot at 2.
Yeah, I think that's what I like as well. There's options there to look at, and I think you really need to take your chances in a game where you haven't taken any steals against this Japanese rank. You know, stealing back-to-back ends is not going to be in the playbook as much as a final end steal for the win here. So Kayla Skrlik's going to look at this long run back for the deuce.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you think you have even a 2 in 10 chance of making this shot, I think it's worth taking on. Rather than, I mean, that draw's not easy either. Like, how many times are you going to make that draw to the pin from the thin way? In fact, that probably overcurls. You might even have to outturn tap your own, which is its own kind of hard shot. So, no, got to take this on. I totally agree with this. Not that my opinion really matters, but here it is. Kayla Skrlik trying to stay in this game. Long run back for 2. Last shot in the 7th end. Looks like it's got to move. It's going to be too thin. Gonna send it way over the top. It's another steal for Fujisawa. Not out of this game yet. 3 points will tie it for Team Skrlik in the 8th end. The all exciting, encompassing final end of this battle when we return. It is the 8th end. It's Team Skrlik with hammer. We had a steal in the 7th, a well-played end. Team Fujisawa didn't really miss a shot. Team Skrlik came so close to clearing out the red stone and the 4-foot 2 run backs that did not miss by much. But in the end, it is Team Fujisawa that was able to hang on.
Yeah, a bit of a long shot by Kayla Skrlik on her last, a long run back in desperation to try and get the deuce. I think we all agree that was the right call. I think you really need to push for a deuce where she was, especially with the difficulty she would have faced with taking a shot for 1 either way. But just a missed shot, and it leaves Fujisawa with a comfortable lead as we enter the final end of play. Quick update around the rings on sheet 3. The Kim team out of South Korea took another steal over Holly Duncan. They lead at 5-1 in the final end, and it looks like Holly Duncan is playing the final end down 4 with the hammer. And on sheet 5, it was the Saskatchewan rink, Amber Holland, taking a deuce against Stefania Constantini out of Italy, and they will lead that one 5-3, entering the 8th end, the Italian rink with hammer. We will update you on the Yagi and Silvernagel games as that 8th end is underway currently as well.
We have got a yellow rock in the corner. We've got 2 yellow rocks in the corner.
Yeah, a little bit of a disastrous start to an 8th end, needing 3 for the Skrlik rink here.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a 3 score with two corner guards in the corner. I've seen it with 1. I've seen 1 guard missed and still able to make it happen, but that's more or less good night. Not that I want to call this game over, but you need guards in order to score points. So if Fujisawa is able to group her stones here, it's going to be freezes and taps and some really difficult shots one after another in order for Team Skrlik to make this happen. If they needed 2, I could maybe see it. 3 is going to be a massive uphill battle. Sorry, bad camera work there, folks. I confused my preview screen with my program screen. We've got 3 rocks in the rings. Going to take multiple contacts to tap those behind the tee line and get them in spots where Skrlik's going to need them. So, some impressive shots here down the middle of the lineup for Team Skrlik.
Yeah, and it'll be a 3rd attempt at this corner guard for Ashton.
Yep. Ashton playing with fire the last few ends, was light, was using her sweepers quite a bit, just wasn't able to make that adjustment, I guess. Almost hogged a rock in 7 and ends up hogging a few. And I know the feeling. It's tough to change your kick when you're already set in a certain way. So she changes her kick for this one. A little too much. Game 1, lots of weekend left. Lots of time to dial that in and get that feeling a little better. But it's certainly not a good feeling when you miss your guards as a lead rock thrower.
Yeah, but not a lot of room for error in this women's event. It's, I believe it's 5 groups of 5 on this women's side? Or 5 groups of 4, is it? Am I mistaken here? I'll take a peek here. 5 groups of 5 here in the Nutrien Ag Solutions Western Showdown. A top 2 placement in your group will get you into the playoffs. So not a lot of room for error. 1 loss, you're already looking at being on the edges, especially with a star-studded lineup as we have in Swift Current this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teams reaching from the Northwest Territories all the way out to Japan, Korea, Sweden, Switzerland, Italy. It's really a League of Nations going down in Swift Current this week.
Basically a slam quality field. This tournament has gotten just so renowned.
Yeah, this is one that'll get the town out to watch.
Swift Current has been spoiled over the years with some super high quality curling. Another more or less open hit.
At what point do you start jumbling around those red rocks in the rings, Rory? Is this the one here?
I would have started right away.
I was about to say, I'm surprised they threw another guard.
I would have got something cooking.
Needing 3, but
waited for a miss and then thrown a guard. I think that's because now you have them focused in the rings. You can rest assured that your guard's probably going to stay right there. But who am I? These are some of the best teams in the world, so it's fun for us to chat and kind of work through things on our own. But you know what? Whenever a team calls a shot that I wouldn't call myself, I always assume that they know what they're doing more than I do.
It's a good way to defer.
Yeah, we're just a couple guys having fun watching curling. Hopefully just like everyone at home or on their lunch break in Japan, wherever you may be watching from.
Another rock above the rings there for Skrlik.
Yeah.
And an easy peel.
Might be biding her time. Wasting rocks, perhaps.
And it was a single for Michelle Yagi in the 8th to knot it up at 4 over there. Robin Silvernagel and Michelle Yagi of Bern, Switzerland will be heading to an extra end. That game, of course, also available through Curling Zone. And that final rock from Geraldine Ramsey is going to bounce just a little bit, and it's probably takeoutable for the skip from Hokkaido. And this should be handshakes if she can get this one to go. And that will be the game. It's Satsuki Fujisawa wrapping up a 7-4 victory over Calgary's Kayla Skrlik in the opening draw of the Nutrien Egg Solutions Western Showdown here in Swift Current, Saskatchewan.
Yes, it will be X's on the board as a final score. Just a reminder to everybody watching at home, you can watch every other draw on Curling Zone's YouTube page. Just go to that Curling Zone YouTube page, take your pick. Which exciting, thrilling finish do you want to watch? I want to thank you for joining me. This was a fantastic game. Any more?